Hi everyone, what's up AB Squad? This is your boy Abbas. Welcome to the family. Welcome to AB React. So guys, I'm back with you checking out another video on this channel, and if you're not ready to do this with me, do well to hit on your like button, join the family, join AB React by clicking on your subscribe button and then on your notification bell so you don't miss whenever I upload a video. If you have recommendations, suggestion, guys, always do well to leave it right there in the comment section. Alright, AB Squad, without waste of time, let's do this, guys.
The strange death of Europe centers on the 2015 migration crisis, which you'll all remember was the moment when Angela Merkel massively exacerbated an already existing problem by announcing unilaterally that the external and internal borders of Europe were basically dissolved. In a single act, the mass movement of people that had been going on for decades sped up exponentially, so that Germany in a single year took in an additional 2% of its population, that Sweden took in an additional almost 3% of its population. This is all part of a pattern, I say, that has been going on for many decades, and just like those previous decades, what happened after the 2015 crisis was that politicians and the media found excuses to justify something that would have happened anyway. So, for instance, German citizens and others were told that this mass migration, millions of people into Europe, would be a net economic gain for their society, that it would enrich their society. Now, actually, all of the studies that I've gone over in this show that, at best, most such migration cannot be called to be any kind of economic gain. A study in Britain showed that over a 15-year period, migrants took out 95 billion more in services than they put in taxation. And of course they would. If you go to another country, you don't speak the language, you don't have the skills, it's going to be a very long time before you've put in anything into the welfare system remotely like the amount that you and your family will have taken out. But this is one of the arguments that are made. And by the way, just as in all of the decades after the war, so in the post-2015 moment, the governments that came up with these explanations had to hedge around the facts, so that just like the Labour government after 1997, they had to pretend that the average migrant was a Luxembourgian hedge funder. And this is just one of the lies that gets told to the people.
As Douglas Murray points out, politicians often claim that an influx of immigrants will fill labor shortages, increase the tax base, and contribute to economic growth. However, the reality is more complex. Many immigrants, particularly those who arrive without skills or language proficiency, rely heavily on social services when they first arrive. This reliance can persist for years, creating a significant burden on the host country's welfare system. A study conducted in the United Kingdom found that immigrants from outside the European Economic Area had a net fiscal cost, meaning they consumed more in public services and benefits than they contributed in taxes. Specifically, over a 17-year period, non-EEA immigrants cost the UK government approximately £118 billion. This figure contrasts sharply with the positive fiscal contributions from EEA immigrants, who were more likely to be employed and contribute positively to the economy. Economists and analysts have echoed Murray's skepticism. Professor Paul Collier, a leading development economist, argues that large-scale immigration can have adverse effects on the economy, particularly when the migrant skill levels do not match the needs of the host country. Collier emphasizes that while immigration can be beneficial under certain conditions, it must be managed carefully to avoid negative fiscal impacts and social strain.
Because once that one is shot down, once, for instance, you notice that the number of...
This is very, kind of a very serious situation. Of course, we all know why Douglas Murray will always be Douglas Murray. Like, he always has his point, he always want to say, and then, make some vital points. So guys, let's continue.
People who've been added to Germany's welfare bill in the last year is almost exactly the number of the people who came in 2015. Once you go over that lie, you get to another one, which the German people and others were told, which is that we are an aging population, we are a greying population, and that therefore we need, obviously, to bring people in to keep us and our society into the standards to which we've become accustomed. Of course, this argument always ignores one extraordinary thing which none of the politicians ever seem to be able to recognize, which is the startling fact that migrants get old as well. It's amazingly enough, it's not just us Europeans who suffer the aging process. Who knew? But of course, if you do believe in that idea, that you need to keep on bringing people to keep yourself in the custom that you're now used to, you get what I describe as the pyramid problem in migration. You keep having to bring in more and more people all the time to keep yourselves in that sustainable societal moment. But so if once you get the one of, well, okay, maybe they don't make us richer, maybe the aging population thing doesn't work, you get to another one, which is diversity. It doesn't matter if we're financially poorer. It doesn't matter because we're so much more culturally rich. Now, I should say that there is something in this. What society, Europeans certainly wouldn't do, is what society doesn't want to know as much of interest and culture as the world has to offer. Who doesn't want to know as much about the world and about the ideas of the world as possible? But, of course, the first person from, for instance, India to bring Indian cuisine into the UK does an interesting service, vimms up the local cuisine. It's not the case that the next 100 Indians who come in, for instance, bring 100 times more interesting cuisine. It's not the case that the first...
I think this is one of the reasons why, the UK, the Americans really want to stop this migrant thing. Like, it's actually adding to their economic depression and economic, everything is just actually going down. So, of course, Douglas Murray always have his point.
Sudanese poet who enters the UK massively brings interest to your country, and that the next 1,000 people from Sudan continue to just bring ever richer versions of the poetry of Sudan. And by the way, please don't ask me to name my favorite Sudanese poet.
Politicians frequently argue that bringing in people from different cultural backgrounds enriches society by introducing new perspectives, traditions, and innovations. While cultural diversity can have positive aspects, it is not without significant challenges and potential downsides, especially when not managed properly. First, one of the primary issues with cultural diversification through uncontrolled immigration is the strain it can place on social cohesion. Societies function best when there is a shared sense of values and common identity. Rapid and large-scale immigration can disrupt this balance, leading to fragmentation and a lack of social unity. For instance, when different cultural groups maintain separate identities and values, it can result in parallel societies within the same country. This is evident in parts of Europe where significant immigrant populations live in segregated communities with little interaction with the native population, leading to misunderstandings, distrust, and even conflict. In Germany, a study by the Friedrich Ebert Foundation found that areas with high concentrations of immigrants experienced more social tension and lower levels of social trust. This is partly due to the fact that cultural differences can exacerbate feelings of exclusion and alienation among both immigrants and native citizens. Additionally, a report by the Pew Research Center showed that public opinion in many European countries has become increasingly critical of immigration, with concerns about the impact on national identity and social cohesion. Cultural diversification can also pose economic challenges. While diverse workforces can bring new ideas and drive innovation, they can also lead to workplace conflicts and communication barriers. For example, a study by the Harvard Business Review found that cultural diversity in the workplace can be a double-edged sword. While it can enhance creativity and problem solving, it can also lead to misunderstandings and conflict if not managed properly. Companies often have to invest significantly in training and team building to ensure that diverse teams function effectively.
This is just a part of that. Like they also say, you also notice, by the way, that this is always a one-way street. Not once in my adult life have I heard anybody say that the thing that Eritrea needs most is an injection of...
He's a very, very funny person. Douglas is very funny. These things has actually caused harm. These things have actually caused a lot of things, and then of course, them trying to stop this is not bad, but Also, it should be something they should consider, and then look into it in another form, in another way, and see how they can sort it out.
Welshman. They just could do with some Welsh cooking. Or singing. Nobody says this. Nobody says, as Mark Stein and I were saying in the conversation recently, nobody says, the thing that the Somalis really need is a bit more Bach. I actually think it'd be nice for them if they had a bit more Bach, but nobody thinks that's an appropriate way to say it. But Europeans are told there's something hollow at our heart, as if we in Europe, the culture of Dante and Goethe and Bach, has some kind of diminishment, something hollow at its center that needs filling by the world. And then you get to another stage in this, which is, okay, maybe it doesn't make you richer. Maybe the aging population thing does fall apart. Maybe the diversity thing isn't all it's cracked up to be. Or, as I put it at one point in my book, maybe we have to just do an agreement this is a quid pro quo. We have a bit more gang rape and beheading than we used to have, but then there's a wider range of cuisines, so who's to... Life's all swings and roundabouts, so... But then you get to the last stage of that, which is the one that politicians now say and speak to us about, which is, okay, maybe none of these things are the case. Well, suck it up. This is globalization. This is going to happen anyway. This is a hell of a way to speak to the general public about their and their children's future. And it is only said, once again, to the peoples of Europe in this tone.
Alright, Episcopal, that was a very lovely one. That was an interesting one from Douglas Murray. And guys, we know you really enjoyed that video as much as I did. Do all to join the family by hitting on your like button. And also, don't forget to click on your subscribe button and turn on the notification bell so you don't miss out whenever I upload a video. If you have recommendation, suggestion, guys, always do well to leave them right there in the comment section. Alright, Episcopal, I can't wait to see you in my next video. Until then, stay safe and don't touch that out. Bye, guys.